Hey there, this is Raimu, and we're going to look at what I did for my game in July. The game is Omnia Regna. It is inspired by the old Ultima games, and this month had a lot of new features. First and foremost, I thought, was the Lua scripting in the game for a rapid game system prototyping. We did things like having these particle systems, which are all basically governed by those scripts. There's also a big overhaul to the combat system and new tools for making edits to the world. So, like I did last month and the month before, I broke this up into sort of weekly summaries that are recorded at the end of each week, and I'm stringing them together so that we can get a week-by-week story about what happened in the month. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Hello there, this is the wrap-up for the first 2 weeks of July. The first week of July was pretty short, I only streamed twice. And so I waited for 2 weeks to record this. But I've worked on a few things in the first half of the month. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the scripting in-game. So there's now a scripts panel for the GM, and I can go in and add these Lua scripts. Hopefully this will be improved in a bit. It's just a basic text area right now, but I want to make it a full-blown embedded editor. But these are scripts written in the Lua scripting language that either plug in as game systems or requirements for dialogues or script actions in dialogues or triggers. There are numerous ways you can trigger these scripts, and these do various things in the game. Mostly things that I'm working on that I haven't yet finalized, so that I can quickly edit them in-game without having to restart the game servers. So the first thing that I did with that is I overhauled the combat system. So first of all, instead of having swords just magically appear in the world, we now have to talk to an NPC, and I assigned Bob to be our sword salesperson. So you can ask Bob, can I have a sword? And he hands you one. This is all done with scripts behind the scenes. So if I show you in the guard for Bob, sword, it checks to see if you have room or not. So there are two possible things that could happen when you say yes, you want a sword. Either if you have room or you don't. If you have room, he calls the give sword script. And if you don't, he says, oh, sorry, you don't have room. And the give sword script will make sure you have space in your inventory, and then we'll create a sword there. So what you can do with that sword, this is what I did for the remainder of the week, is you can go and attack NPCs now with your sword. So there's now an attack option. If I can hit that guy, you can see he's got a health bar now. And if I keep hitting him, he dies. If I just attack him a few times and then just leave him alone, you'll see his health slowly regenerates until the health bar goes up to full and disappears. So there's a lot of front-end work here involved. All of the combat system is in Lua, and the health bars were in JavaScript. So we're getting closer to having a real game. The NPCs can't fight you back, but you can fight them. And another thing I did, little thing here, dragging and dropping items. So we're still fleshing that out. There's no information about the items in your inventory, and there's no equipment slots, but you can drag and move items around in your inventory. So anyway, that's about it for the first 2 weeks of July. Hi there, this is a summary for the third week of July. So starting this week, the monsters fight back. So if I attack this orc here, he'll actually attack me back, and I worked on, this is in Lua right now. And if you run out of hit points, you die, and I added this special mode for dialogues where we can choose to make them modal to force you to interact with them. So it's using the same dialogue system. In fact, you can see it's still operating in the background. It's just we have another copy here. And I just put together just a simple script where if you die, you can respawn. And you come back to full health. So in addition to the monsters being able to fight back, they're also spawned controlled by information stored in the game for the whole zone. So this area here I set up for slimes to spawn, and this one for orcs. And the NPCs have different abilities and types and loot tables as well. So the slimes don't drop anything, but if I fight this orc, and if I win, I might not win. He might kill me. If I win, though, he should drop some loot. Oh, he didn't. Means I have to fight another one. It's not a 100% chance. Okay, there we go. He dropped some loot. So if you can see there, I'm fighting the second orc and he killed me. See there in my inventory now we've added item stacks. So I had 4 gold. I picked up 6 more. Now I have 10. So this is a little bit of drawing over with the div, and I got help from viewers to draw that really nicely. There's also information shown in the chat if you pick up and drop items. So I drop that gold and I pick it back up again. And that's about it for the 3rd week of July. And this is the summary for the 4th week of July. So some exciting new things on this week. So I added a new starter area to the map, and that we can see that in the game here. So this is what I had in mind for an area that you would start the game in, with some NPCs to talk to. It's sort of like a quest hub or vendor area. And it's just a little town. We haven't really filled it up yet. Underneath the town, there are some sewers. This is meant to be a training area. And when we have the lighting system in the game, this will sort of demonstrate how some areas of the game will be lit and others won't. And this, you'll appear somewhere up here, and you'll be walked through taking this path out. And meanwhile, fighting these monsters. So the rest of the week, I spent on a couple of different things. So Game Master tools. For example, the ability to add teleporters easily in the game. So I can click here and say Edit Teleporter and enter the coordinates, and we're done. Also, the tile picker. So I could take this tree, for example, and edit it and change it into a statue if I wanted. Put it back into a tree. And this was another feature that I really needed for building the world, and that is the depth selection. So painting at depth 0, for example, a tree would remove the background. But depth 1 places a tree on top of the background. Same thing for right-clicking, removes at that depth. So that's going to be very convenient and useful for building the game. So some more exciting things I added. You can see on this screen, particle effects. So sparks from this lava area, and that was mostly to test the pathing, that we can make arcs and stuff like that. But the main goal was to improve the combat system. So as I fight these orcs here, you can see there's little indicators that show up when we get hit. And those are, I call them particles, but they're really just sprites that only appear for a quarter second or so. And you might have also been able to catch that there's some audio sound effects now. And I died. Uh-oh. 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 That's a bug. I live again, but the dialogue didn't restart. So, yeah, we added both particle effects and sound effects to the game, as well as a lot of bug fixes and refactoring. So that's it for the month of July. See you again for the August wrap-up.